So today my goals to get done is I need to get the feed, oil feed for this turbo done. Should be quick and easy. I want to get the oil drains done and the exhaust done. Alright, so kind of to back up, there's a few things that I got done that I didn't get on film. I just did it after work with poor lighting and all that stuff, and so I don't have any of that stuff on video. But I got the hole set all clocked correctly and all put back together. The broken bolt pulled out of it and all that stuff. Got that all mounted. I ended up with a 1/4 inch spacer under here to clear right back here on the compressor housing against the exhaust manifold. It hit with it without the spacer. So there's a 1/4 inch spacer there. So I got that all mounted, and this turbo is it's piped up with this, which I made in the last video. The factory feed for the hole set just barely reaches with that, which I've read on the internet, so that was a good deal. Alright, pull the oil fitting. That wasn't too hard. Alright, so I measured it about 5.5 inches. Anytime you're doing this type of line, you always want to, I like to wrap it with electrical tape where you're going to cut it, and then cut straight through the electrical tape. This is PTFE hose. I don't know, I use PTFE on most stuff, but it does take a different style of, a special style of AN fitting. It's got to have the style with the ferrule for the PTFE. Anyway, the other thing you always want to do is cut it with a cutoff wheel. It's the easiest way to do it to keep the end nice and clean. So by the time the ends are there, so subtract 2, so I need 3.5 inches of hose. Alright, there we go. There's that. Now you can peel the tape off, because that ferrule is going to go on underneath the stainless wire. And that piece of tape's been on there a while. It's pretty sticky. This side off. The easiest part of this whole build is that oil feed. You also want to get the burr off in here. I usually like to use a knife, just cut it. It's not a bad idea to clean the inside of these after you've got them all together also. Okay, so when you put the ferrules on, they go on underneath the stainless wire, and then they usually take a bit of force to get to push on. But this one in particular It's got a ledge in there, and you push the tube up against that ledge and stop. Some of the bigger stuff that I've done, they don't have a ledge like that, and you just push it to the very end of the ferrule without anything sticking out, and then that's the good spot. These ones are a little bit different, obviously, from a different manufacturer. So again, it makes it easier to go together, and it also helps protect those threads from getting galled. But a little bit of lube is your friend. Now, same thing with this. Sometimes it takes a bit. You're going to want to push it all the way in, like that. That's fully seated. And now this one, with those ferrules the way they are, it keeps that hose end a ways away from the edge. Now you'll tighten that down. Push that in, make sure that it's all the way in. A little bit of lube. Oh, that one slid right in. Yeah, it's got plenty of lube there. Tighten it down. Nothing special about tightening these down. I don't use any special wrenches or anything. I honestly really don't care about whether they get scratched, because nothing I do is show car stuff. Okay. Alright, try that camera angle. Maybe we can see something. Maybe not. Probably don't matter. Now, same thing. Lube the threads. You do not want this stuff to gall. Will not seal correctly. And even if you do get it to seal correctly, the next time you take it off, it's going to be garbage. Every time you do these, lubricate those. If you want them to last, lubricate them. WD-40 is probably not the best thing, but it works. Let's see if I can keep from pinching this hose while I'm getting it on. Okay, that one's tight. Hose around. Sometimes if it wants to twist your hose, especially on a short hose like this, you're going to want to hold on to it back on the back side so it doesn't turn. You don't want that hose twisted, it'll end up kinking. If you kink it on something like this with a PTFE hose, you're going to have no oil pressure. You're going to lose the turbo. Okay, tight, tight. All good. Now, we got our oil supply done. I'm going to put a hose on this. I don't have any of this silicone hose, so I'm just going to put a regular hose on it. It'll work for now. I'll get a silicone hose later. So another thing I might get flamed about is these. I actually prefer the band style over these wire style, but I love spring clamps. I think they work better than a regular old hose clamp. They hold constant pressure all the way around, which is what you need. Now, whether I need to turn that nipple and get it up away from that exhaust, probably going to end up putting a turbo blanket on that. Probably put a turbo blanket on both of those turbos actually. It's tight. What size? It's going to be a 7/16. To get that, yeah, it's not going to go tighter. That's probably fine. Keep that short, keep it away from that down pipe. Now I think I got to attack the drain pipe. I ended up on the oil drain. I decided pulled this out of the bottom of the block. This is where the drain fitting from the turbo comes down. The stock turbo comes down and hooks to here, and then it drains down into the block. So what I'm going to do, this just grab a hold of it with vice grips, twist it a little bit, comes right out. I don't know, I'll probably put some silicone on there when I put it back in. I'm not sure how it seals. There's probably an O-ring in the block. That's, you know, how good is it now? I don't know. Doesn't seem to leak from there. Anyway, so I got a bulkhead fitting. This is just parts that I've had laying around. So I'm going to cut this off somewhere back in here, probably at an angle, and attach it somewhere kind of like that. Actually, it'll probably be fairly straight to it, but somewhere right down in here I'll attach that, and then it'll be a 45-degree fitting on there. Would actually, if I had another straight fitting, I'd probably use a straight fitting on that, but I don't have another one. I've got a 45 and a 90 and one straight one. So I'm going to come off the turbo, it'll go straight down, and then over, it only goes over a couple inches, and then it'll go into that 45. Should be a good deal. With this as far away as it is from the other turbo going down the pipe, the aeration from the first turbo should be minimized by the time it gets down to here, and then two turbos sharing just this last little portion should be fine. I don't think I'll have any problems with oil drain doing it this way. Seems to be the easiest way to deal with it, that I have to deal with it, other than pulling the pan. Pulling the pan does not look like fun, so this is the way I'm doing it. So when you go to cut something like this, This hose is pretty much straight up and down, so I don't know why I'm worried about cleaning that. The hose is pretty much straight up and down. I want this to come in fairly straight so that that 45 can do all of the work. So what I'll do on something like this, I want the end of it to come up pretty close to that nut. I just don't want it any longer than it needs to. What I'll do for something like this is just take and set it over the edge and then Sharpie the start and the end points. And then when you saw it, you can't really saw that tight of a radius, but you just saw from here to there, saw it fairly straight. Give yourself just a little bit more meat to ride with, and then you just take a grinder or a belt sander or something and you just curve it out like that, and it'll fit that pretty decent. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it, I'm going to get it fitted there, I'll grind the paint off of this, and then I'm going to weld it on, and once I weld it on, then I'll go through here, use this as a pilot, and then just drill straight through. And I might have to get inside there with a burr and clean up the burrs on. Very nice. It's got an edge over here, but that's a nice weldable edge. That stuff is so thick that it's not going to make much of a difference. I'll clean the rest of that paint up on. so considering that the angle with that fitting in the block ended up at, I decided I'm going to use this fitting that I've got. For right now, I'll end up getting a proper AN fitting. I've got plenty of hose. I've got one AN straight AN fitting, and then I've got this, which is a push lock. It'll work fine for this. I'm just going to put it on and then hose clamp it. I'll change it later to the proper AN fitting, but for right now, that'll work. It'll get me on. Okay, like I said before, I already had this one fairly pre-done. This stuff here, it's just got the nylon braid on the outside of the stainless braid. Alright, well, I got the drain on for the big turbo. It's got a little bit of a kink in it. I might have to end up redoing it, kind of rerouting it a little bit, but we'll see how it works once I get it running. So to hole sit, what I'm gonna do, what it looks like I need to do is needs extended either here or here. I'm actually gonna do it a little bit of both, and then this is gonna need to be shortened because the way it rocked the turbo up, it pulled it in a little ways. So it needs to come in and up. So I'm just going to hack this apart and kind of just get it close and see where I go with it. Alright, so this is the shape that I ended up with. I'm gonna give it a quick spray paint and then get it on, and then I'm actually gonna fire the truck up and back it out, call it a day.